We have a wonderful verse of scripture in Alma chapter 5, and the prophet Alma there preaches to us some very inspiring instruction. And he says this in verse 19. He's speaking about the day of judgment when we come before God in judgment. And he said, I say unto you, can ye look up to God at that day with a pure heart and clean hands? I say unto you, can you look up, having the image of God engraven upon your countenances? I love that idea that the image of God is to be engraven upon our countenances. So this idea of his image, the image of God, his goodness, his purity, his light, his likeness, his courage, his knowledge, his radiance, that image is one of beauty, one of love, one of radiant joy. So that's a beautiful image that he has, that God possesses. And we're to have that in our countenance, in our likeness. We are to radiate the likeness of God. We are to be conformed to his image. So we are to appear as a person of light and a person of truth, a person of virtue, a person of wisdom. And that's something we grow into gradually over time. This idea of having that image engraven upon our countenances, I love that idea of engraven. What does that mean? Well, I have my wedding ring, and my wedding ring has something engraven on the inside of it. It's Veronica and Tom, the 25th of November, 1999. So that's the day my wife and I were married. And that is engraven. It's an inscription that's engraven. Now, to be engraven means it's not easily erased. It's imprinted on there in such a fashion that it can be seen. It can be distinguished from the rest of it, because the rest of it isn't engraven. That's the only part that's engraven. It's embedded, if you like, imprinted in such a manner that it's not easily erased, and it is there for a long time to remind us of who we are and our relationship with each other, my wife and I. And that day is forever inscribed on our wedding rings, so we'll always remember that. And that's a powerful reminder. So this idea of the image of God to be engraven on our countenance, it's to be etched, it's to be inscribed, it's to be embedded. It's not to be superficial or temporary or passing. It's not to be barely recognizable. It's to be distinct. It's to be seen. It's something to be noticed. That engraven is to be everlasting. It's not to fade away. So God's goodness, God's righteousness, God's light and truth and beauty is to be inscribed on us. It's to be planted in us. It's to be evident and witnessed and seen, demonstrably evidenced in our countenance, in our appearance, in how we look and in how we act and in how we think and in how we speak and how we live. We are to have his image, the godly image, the image of the Supreme Being, engraven upon our life, our appearance, our attitudes, our perspectives, our behaviors, our walk. And of course, this is something that's to happen in preparation. Now, at the judgment day, it will be fully engraved, but the preparation for that happens now, as we live in this mortal life, as we each day remember God and think on him and follow him and live as he would have us live, in obedience to his laws and covenants and ordinances. Then we are transformed to partake of the divine nature. We are to become like him and to radiate his light, his love, his truth, his beauty to all the world. So I love that idea, and it's a powerful reminder to each one of us that the image of God isn't to be temporary, but is to be powerful and pronounced in our lives.